Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today we're going to talk about what parallel compression is and how to use it to enhance your mixes. We are exploring parallel compression today. We're going to do it on a couple different tracks. I think we're going to hit the drums, the bass, and probably the vocals. But before we dive in, if you are ready to go a little bit deeper into the mixing process in its entirety and really start to hone your workflow as an engineer, then I have just the thing for you. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and it's just a simple PDF that will walk you through the entire mixing process, step by step, to help you get professional and radio-ready mixes without any more of the hassle and without any more of the guesswork. It is a completely free guide, and you can download it below using the link in the video description. Now let's jump in here and talk about parallel compression. Let me play you the track as a whole so you can hear where our mix is sitting currently. And then we're going to dive into doing some extra compression, some parallel compression on drums, bass, and I think we're going to do vocals. So we'll do 3 sets of parallel compression here, starting with our drums. So I'm going to play you the track as a whole, and then I will solo up the drums. You can hear where they are currently sitting in our mix here. So here's the finished mix as it stands.
One step, and it's much too far. Take 2 steps, way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart.
So our drums are sounding good. Everything sits together pretty well in the mix, but how can we pack that little bit of extra punch and bring up the energy of some of our most important elements in the mix? So drums, bass, and our vocals. That's where parallel compression is. So what is parallel compression? At its core, it's pretty simple 2-step process. One, you're creating a parallel signal, so that's either duplicating the actual track or duplicating the signal of a set of tracks. And then 2 is you're aggressively compressing that parallel signal or that dual signal. So in practice, what it would look like is if we're going to put parallel compression on our drums here, we would need to create a parallel signal of our drums. So all of our drums here are sending into our drum bus. So I'm going to create another bus here, right click, add bus channel, and we'll call it drum crush. We'll color it white, because I color my effects white. To me, parallel compression is an added effect inside a track. We will send it to our mix bus as well. So you can see this is running alongside our drum bus right now. Excuse me. What we're going to do now is we're going to come to our drum bus here, and on the send section, we're going to send a copy of this signal over to the drum crush bus. And I'm going to send it full signal, so send level is at 0 dB. We're sending a full copy of this here. Anything that's coming in our drum bus is getting sent full level to the drum crush bus. So now we have our parallel signal. So if we solo up our drum crush bus, it's just going to be our normal drums. Just a complete copy of the signal running into our drum bus. So that's number 1. Number 2, we need to aggressively compress this duplicate signal here. So we're going to open up this drum crush bus, and I usually like to pull in the fat channel and use one of the analog style compressors here. So let's go, let's see, we could use the fat comp. The Brit comp's always really, really nice. Crushing anything with an SSL is always pretty awesome. I think I'm going to reach for the classic comp here. This is kind of a Chris Lord Algae style move here. He's using like the 33609 and Neve style compressor to crush your drums. We'll turn that on here. We're going to go fastest release. So we want it to let go as fast as possible. That way we can get that attack. If it holds on too long, it's going to crush the next incoming hit. So whether it's our kick or snare, and we won't get that transient energy. So we're going to keep our recovery, our release as fast as possible. We'll go 3-to-1, so we'll go right in the middle here, not too aggressive with the ratio, not too gentle. And then we're going to pull our threshold down here till we're probably doing about 7 to 10 dB compression on our drum crush bus here as a whole. So this is going to compress our entire drum signal because we're sending that duplicate signal here into our drum crush. So we're going to pull down this threshold here and get some compression going. So right there, that's where we're getting that effect that we want. You can hear, if you listen to the kick and snare, they get really sharp and really tight because the compressor is leaving time for the transient to come through, and then it's squashing the rest of the signal. So we get a really tight and really emphasized transient, which is going to bring out the attack and add some extra power to our drum kit overall. We're sitting between about 7 to 10 dB of compression here. So we're going to pull up our makeup gain till we're sitting about even with our original drum signal. So this is the benefit of having a duplicate channel right next to your original channel, is you can match the gain pretty well just by eye. You can hear how tight and how aggressive our drum kit gets. So now what we do is we're going to pull this channel down. So we're pulling our drum crush down. We're going to solo up our original drum bus and our drum crush, and we're going to tuck this aggressively compressed signal underneath our original drum bus. And this is going to add in that extra attack and that extra power. It's going to give us an overall boost in energy on our drum kit here. Right there at about -19 is where I'm starting to hear that energy lift when I kick in the drum crush. That's all we want here. So take a listen, and I'll A-B this drum crush bus here. Listen to this little boost of energy we get, and pay attention to how our attack gets really tight, and it gets a little bit of emphasis there on the front end of our kick and our snare here. So we'll start without it, and then I'll kick it in. Listen to the energy shift. That's feeling really, really nice. We get some extra bigness coming up underneath our kick and our snare. Really, really nice. So that's sounding good there on our drums. We're going to move over now. We're going to do the same kind of thing on our bass here, but a little bit different. Parallel compression is going to be different for every instrument you do it on. Different tactics, different strategies. So for bass here, still the same two-step strategy though, same process here. We need to create the parallel signal and then aggressively compress that parallel signal. So we're going to add a bus channel here. We'll call it bass crush. Color it white because it's an effect here. Send it out to our main mix here, our mix bus, and then again come into our original bass bus here. And our sends we will send to our bass crush here, and sending full level here. So 0 dB send over to this bass crush here. So now if we solo up the bass crush, we're going to have just our bass. This is just our normal bass signal, copy of our normal signal. So great sounding bass track, if I do say so myself. But how can we take it to that next level and pack that little bit of extra punch in there on our bass track? Let's see what we can do with parallel compression here. So again, I'm gonna reach for the fat channel here. We'll try something different. We'll try the fat comp here. I'm gonna go slowest attack here. Yes, so we'll go slowest attack, fastest release. We'll go all buttons in here. So we'll go ultra aggressive, kind of that distressor type feeling here. I'm gonna pull the output down quite a bit, and we're gonna push our input up quite a bit. So I don't want the level to change too much here. So let's see what 710 dB of compression here, just squashing our bass track overall, does for our overall tone. So this is interesting to me. As much as I thought all of this compression here on the bass guitar would neuter our low end and destroy our sense of power here on the bass guitar, I thought it would give us a nice emphasis on the transient and maybe give some extra attack on our bass guitar, which is cool. It helps it sit with the kick drum, but I thought it would destroy our low end. It's actually doing the opposite. To me, I hear it really holding our low end in place, and it's going to give us this really, really solid low end that we can pull up underneath, and it's going to be really consistent. So listen one more time here, and I'll A-B just the compressor. Listen to what it does for our bass guitar. So we'll start with out, and then I'll kick it in. Listen to how solid our low end actually gets. That sounded pretty cool there. So what we're going to do now, same kind of thing here. So we're going to pull our bass crush down, throw our original bass bus in now, and we're going to tuck this bass crush underneath our original bass sound and see what extra power, see what extra energy we get here. Right there at about negative 15 dB is where I hear that really powerful and really consistent low end start to bloom. That sounds really nice. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put this in with our drums and make sure they're working together. Our bass and drums were working together before. Let's make sure they're still working together with our parallel compression in now. That's feeling pretty cool. That's a lot of extra energy coming just from just those two extra tracks we're heading in. So last but not least here, we're going to do the same kind of thing on our vocal. So if you have a vocal that's kind of struggling to compete, sometimes if you have a really big or a really dense track, it can be quite a challenge to get your vocal to compete. In a pop track or if it's a huge rock track, that's where parallel compression can really come in to save you there. Adding that extra energy and that extra sense of power that's really consistent can help push your vocal out front. So same two-step process here, right? We're going to add a bus channel. We're going to create our parallel signal first. We'll call it Vox Crush. Color it white and send it to our mix bus. We're going to come here on our vocal. I'm going to turn off the reverb for the moment. And we're going to send to that Vox Crush. Again, sending full signal here. So we're sending a complete duplicate of what's coming in here on our vocal bus out to our vocal crush. So now we have a duplicate signal of our vocal. Take a listen here.
One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to.
So that's our vocal now. Now we need to apply the aggressive compression. Now, I would probably usually reach for that same Fed style compressor. Let's do something different here. Let's try this VT1 actually. I've never really gotten into using this. I've never been one for channel strips. I try to get into them all the time because I think they're cool. I usually go back to using the Pro Q or the Fat channel, but let's try this here. So let's kick in our compressor here. I'm going to send the EQ into the compressor just because it's habit here. We'll go 4:1 ratio, fastest attack. So the fastest attack is kind of looking like that, the usual settings I use on a FET compressor in 1176, and we'll go fastest release, 40 milliseconds, that works. And let's just pin our threshold here and see where we end up compression-wise.
To get to your heart. One step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close.
So that's not enough compression, and the threshold is like pinned there. So let's try pushing the preamp gain. So actually what we'll get here now is we'll get some grit from the preamp as well as pushing into the compressor harder. So this might be cool here.
But take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. 1 step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to you.
That's actually really, really cool. So now let's take this here and pull it down, and we're going to tuck it underneath our original vocal. So we're getting this nice grit and this really aggressive upfront sounding vocal from pushing in with the preamp gain as well as pushing into this tube style compressor though. So that's sounding really, 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 really cool. This is going to help push our vocal out front here. Same kind of thing here. We're going to solo up our vocal, solo up this Vox Crush, and we're going to tuck this underneath our original lead vocal here.
1 step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps, and I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. 1 step, and it's much too far. I'll take 2 steps. We're way too close, but take 3 steps.
So right there at about -17, you start to hear that extra aggression and that extra grit come into play. I don't want to push it too hard here because we're getting a little bit of nice distortion from pushing into that preamp there, and I don't want it to be too audible in the mix. So let's balance everything together now. So we'll start with our drums, we'll add in our bass, and then we'll add in our vocal and the rest of the mix as well. We can hear how everything's going together. That's sounding really, really cool. Now we have some extra energy on our main elements of the track here. The last thing I want to try, just to see the full effect of these 3 buses here, I'm going to highlight just these 3 buses here. So our drum crush, bass crush, and our Vox Crush. And I'm going to take them out of the mix here. So take a listen. We're going to start without them, and then I'm going to kick them in. Listen to the energy boost we get on the track as a whole. Not just from just these 3 buses here, right? Because obviously we're going to get some energy boost on our drums, bass, and our vocal, but listen to how the track changes as a whole from the parallel compression.
1 step, and it's much too far. Take 2 steps. Way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. 1 step, and it's much too far. Take 2 steps. Way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it takes to get to your heart. 1 step, and it's much too far. Take 2 steps. Way too close, but take 3 steps. And I'm into your arms. I'll do all it.
We're getting some extra attack and some extra aggression on our drums. We're getting a really solid low end coming up underneath our bass guitar. That sounds awesome. And our vocals taking a nice step out front, so it's the prominent role inside the mix. That is what we get from using parallel compression inside of our mix. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope it was interesting to see how we use parallel compression and to learn a little bit more about what it is and how it enhances our mix. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're ready to take your mixes to the next level and really start dialing in your workflow as an engineer, then I have just the tool for you, and it is completely free. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and you can download it below to start creating more professional mixes in less time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.